Pechi, and today I want to talk to you about how to pick fonts for your brand. I don't know if you've ever thought about it this way, but different fonts can have different personalities. And really what you want to do is you want to find a typeface that's the equivalent of your brand's soulmate, so to speak. So nowadays it's really easy to head on over to Google Fonts and just pick a random font that kind of looks okay. And you know, it might look all right, but there are a few other things that you really should have in mind as you choose your fonts as well. For example, does your chosen typeface create the right associations? Does it convey your brand personality? That sort of thing. So if you have been following me for a while, you will know that I give all of my clients homework, and part of this homework is telling me about your brand personality, the very core of your brand and the values that you stand for and the feelings that you want your brand to evoke, because these all play such an important role in the creation of a successful brand, and really they should be the starting point for your choice of typefaces as well. So I'm not going to go really deep into typography geekdom here, but I do want to show you some examples of different typefaces so that you can start to think about them more as a tool to help you communicate your brand's values and personality. So we're going to dive right in and start off with the serif fonts. These have a really traditional and classic vibe, and they're often used in longer paragraphs of text because they're easy to read. Many of these traditional serif typefaces are considered neutral, meaning that the overall brand look is going to depend on which other typefaces you pair them up with. Then we have a variation of serifs called slab serif. These have an edgier vibe than the more traditional styles and appear solid and confident, with bolder weights appearing really masculine and sturdy, while the thinner, more hairline weights can give a bit of a lighter look. Sans serifs don't really need any further introduction. You see them all over the place. They give off a really clean and modern vibe, and the weight that you choose is going to greatly influence the overall look. So again, with the heavier styles leaning towards the more masculine side and the lighter styles being more feminine and delicate. And most sans serif typefaces are also considered to be fairly neutral. And again, the look that you get, the overall look, is going to depend greatly on the font combinations and the font pairings. Formal script typefaces are feminine and elegant, and they can be used to give off a vintagey feel. They have ornate details, and that means that they can be harder to read in longer paragraphs, and so I would say they are best used as accent fonts or just for the actual logo itself. A variation of script fonts that is more casual. These casual script fonts have an air of informality about them, almost as if they were written down really quickly. And these types of fonts can work really well to give a sense of playfulness to a brand, but really they are best used sparingly as well, because again, they can be a little bit tricky to read. Moving on to handwritten typefaces and brush typefaces. These can really be a great way of adding personality to your brand and a bit of quirkiness. And they are fantastic for logos and headings, but for body text, nope, stay away from them. The final category that I want to talk about today is a huge category that spans a diverse range of styles. The decorative style of font can range all the way from retro and childlike to grunge or graffiti. Many of the styles are what I would say time sensitive, and so they should be chosen quite carefully if you want to create a timeless brand. But it's worth mentioning that if you're building a brand around one specific trend or a time period or a theme, this could really be a winner. Right, so now that I've given you a basic idea about the different styles, I want you to have a think about your brand. Do you want it to feel modern, or do you want it to feel more vintage? Should it be more playful and light, or do you want it to be serious and authoritative? Feminine, masculine, traditional and orthodox? Which font categories do you reckon would best reflect your brand's personality? Right, once you're clear on what kind of personality you want to communicate and what kind of typeface is going to work for your brand, it's time to have some fun. I want you to play around with the font pairings and combinations, and it's really important to choose typefaces that go well together and complement each other. Having said that, this doesn't mean that you can't choose contrasting typefaces just to add interest. But if you're using a really distinct typeface for your logo and maybe for your headings, you may want to choose a more understated typeface for the body text, just to avoid it looking like a shit-hot mess, basically. Also, you really want to keep your brand looking cohesive. So avoid using more than 3 typefaces. Some brands use only one, but in different weights and styles maybe. And then you have other brands that use one typeface for the headings and another for the body text. And then again, you've got some brands that use a 3rd typeface just used for accents. Once you've picked your fonts, you'll need to put a system in place for which typeface and style to use where. And this is crucial if you want to achieve that instantly recognizable look. So think of this hierarchy as almost like giving each typeface a specific job. So you might have a primary typeface, a secondary typeface, and a tertiary typeface, where maybe your primary typeface is used for body text and subheadings, your secondary typeface could be used for headings, and your tertiary typeface would be used quite sparingly, really, just to highlight certain elements. So if you're feeling ready and you want to go off and find your perfect typeface, where do you start? Because there are so many type foundries out there, it might be hard to know where to start looking. So I want you to start by considering whether you want to use open source typefaces, as in free typefaces, premium typefaces, or even if you want to have your own custom typeface created. All of these have pros and cons to each approach. And what I'll do is I'll pop a link in the description to the corresponding article on my website, and that's where I've included some bonus links and also some suggestions to get you started. Right, so I hope this has inspired you to go ahead and pick some awesome fonts for your brand. If you do, I'd love to see what you come up with. You can shoot me an email or a direct message on Instagram, whatever floats your boat, I'd love to see it. And if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate a like and maybe even a subscribe.